The fastest racing cars in the world are ready to make the qualifying attempt for the biggest of all races, the Indianapolis 500. A record crowd of 100,000 filled the stands on the opening day of the time trials. Only 33 of 65 hopefuls will earn a spot on the starting line by running fast competition. And tension builds as cars move out of the garages to race the clock. One of the first in line is veteran Jack McGrath, second place position in the AAA National Championship last year. Jack is his own chief mechanic, and he and his crew worked all weather here in the roughest rides in the world. Cars and drivers take a terrific pounding. Seat belt and shoulder harness are there not only for safety, but to keep the driver free to control the car without having to fight just to stay in it. McGrath's away on a warm-up lap as number 19, another roadster with Jimmy Daywalt driving, moves up the line. Here comes flying Jack McGrath. He signals for the green flag and takes it wide open at a straightaway speed of 180 miles per hour. Now he's into the first turn of the 2.5-mile oval. The car hugs that track. Speed, a new record, 1 hour. The first time an official lap is spent over 140. 2 more laps at the same fantastic pace, and his final lap, the fastest ever traveled to the speedway, 141 and 287 thousandths miles per hour. Jack McGrath, the thin man of the speedway, smashes all qualification records and wins the pole position for the race. His crew is jubilant, but other drivers and crews now have a new mark to shoot at. Can they do it? Now it's Jimmy Daywalt who barrels into the first turn on his run and hurdles through the 140-mile barrier to average 139 and 7/10 for the 4 laps. McGrath and Daywalt panic the pit area with those new speeds. Duane Carter rolls away. The pressure is on and they're running scared. He holds onto it and goes on to qualify. National champ Sam Hanks qualifies the number 1 car of the Bardol Special. All 4 of his laps time within 5/100ths of a second. Harry Stevens, chief mechanic, is all smiles as Hank's wife Alice stands by. Chuck Stevenson, Pan American Road Race winner, qualifies at a solid 138. Good news for his chief mechanic, Clay Smith. Jimmy Bryan in number 9, a conventional dirt track car, whips around the track to average 139.6, third highest of the day. Meeting the challenge of the roadsters, Bryan's conventional car joins McGrath and Daywalt in breaking again last year's 4-lap record. Rain limits qualifications for the following day, and worried mechanics of cars yet to qualify move back into the garages. The first day saw the lap record topped 11 times and the 4-lap mark eclipsed 3 times. This fantastic pace has wrecked all prediction of what it's going to take to get into the race. Skilled mechanics sweat over the engines and chassis because all cars are powered with the same 340 horsepower Meyer-Drake 4-cylinder engines. Straightaway speeds are about equal, and the payoff is the way the chassis handles on the turns. At 200 feet per second, steering linkage must be tough as well as precise. The search for better car control developed a spot disc brake that won't fade away when disc and shoe get hot. The conventional car, the type qualified by Hank, Stevenson, and Bryan, has a rigid frame with the engine mounted along the center line. The driver sits over the drive shaft. Transverse leaf springs are used in suspension. The new roadsters have torsion bar suspension, cross-braced in front well ahead of the wheels. Faster and flatter cornering can be done with the springing action outside the frame. Rear torsion bars run straight across behind the wheels, making for a longer spring base. These slender bars of steel provide springing, which is 30% lighter than leaf or coil springs. Engines on the roadsters are mounted to one side of the car's center line, and some tilt in 36 degrees to throw weight toward the center. By offsetting the drive shaft, the roadster seat is set down on the chassis for a lower silhouette. Chassis weight in the roadsters can be shifted from wheel to wheel by adjusting the torsion bar system. But time is running out, and the drivers take over to shake down the cars on the track. They check performances on the all-important turns. Here is where they expect to coax those extra miles per hour out of their chassis. Drivers scout the competition to find the right groove for these new speeds and plan passing strategy for the big race. Bill Vukovich, last year's winner, takes a ride in 51. His own number 14 is still all over the garage floor as his crew reject 2 engines and work on a third. Checking and testing go on during the practice periods as drivers and crews fight the clock to find just the right combination of power and chassis. A driver can't take his mechanic with him, but he does his best to explain what he wants when he comes back to the pits after a run. Finally, everyone is called in. Practice is over. Tomorrow they qualify. Good weather and a big crowd greet the last 2 days of qualifications as more than 20 cars are on the starting line waiting for this last chance at the 10-mile run and the race, which looms a week away. There's still a lot of worrying being done. Tony Bettenhausen waits his turn, and Duke Dalen helps him think things out. Vukovich's car, number 14, is being fueled and is finally ready to go, too. And they're rolling. The green silk snap for Frank Armi. He's in trouble. A wild merry-go-round, more than 5 city blocks long, that ends with the fuel tank 4 feet from the wall. Armi's comment, well, there goes my early start. Vukovich is now at the starting line, unmoved by Armi's spin, and he's away. Into a warm-up lap, and the green flag. He fights for control in the south turn. He's on it again, but he loses time. Out of the north turn, he stands on it, his average 138.4. Manny Ayulu waits. Although Vuki's speed is better than last year's when he won the pole position, this year there are 12 faster qualifiers in the lineup. Ayulu is on his way. Into the last lap, he's heading for home at 139 miles an hour. He's losing it. Not a scratch on driver or car. With 2 spins and 3 attempts, qualifications go on. The average speed for all qualifiers moves up to an astounding average of 138.3. A total of 33 cars qualify, in the money for the time being, but there's another day of time trials coming up. Sunday, the last chance. Drivers and crews are pushing as they've never pushed before. More qualifiers barreling down the stretch. 137 is not good enough. Slower cars are bumped out of the lineup by faster cars. In frantic last-minute deals, drivers change mounts as mechanics press to the limit, look for extra speed. Near the end of the day, number 45 rolls out of the Bardall garage with Art Cross at the wheel. Cross took second place in last year's race. This is the end of a solid month of hard work for mechanic Harry Stevens. With 2 Bardall cars already qualified, he's looking to make it 3. These 4 minutes can be the longest in a mechanic's life. Cross's first lap, a beautiful 139. But Cross is not riding alone. Mechanic Stevens is thinking him along every inch of the way, slicing across the corners, barreling down the straightaway. Whose foot is on the throttle? And Art Cross qualifies at better than 138 miles per hour. Happy drivers and their crews together turn in performances never before thought possible at the Speedway. Here is the racing team in action, mechanics who work a little harder and drivers who drive a little harder. In the final surge of frantic effort, 10 cars which had qualified are bumped by new qualifiers who continue to tear up the record book. Only 2 cars of last year would have made the lineup this year. The fastest field in Speedway history, qualifying at an average of 138.6 miles an hour, thrilled over 250,000 fans. But even as the crowds move out of the Speedway, work begins again in the garage area in preparation for the big show a week away. Cars must now be refitted to take the beating of 500 grueling miles, equal to 50,000 miles of highway driving. And so the work goes on around the clock as garage lights burn through the night. A final check is made on engines. These power plants are limited to 274 cubic inch piston displacement, non-supercharged, or 183 inches with supercharger. Every engine, before it's installed, is approved with the AAA contest board. These officials work 24 hours a day, supervising every phase of the race. But it's not all work. There's some play, and even mechanics take time off at the mechanics' dinner. Jack McGrath gets a trophy for being the mechanic of the pole position car, the first driver mechanic to win this honor. Around the outside of the speedway, race fans begin to boil over on every road leading to this mecca of auto racing. Some of the faithful have been living for weeks at the gates. It's carnival time that never stops. Streets are jammed for miles around, and still they keep coming. Race morning, 5 o'clock. There's the bomb. All gates swing open. Out of the pre-dawn darkness, in lines 50 blocks long, racing fans pour onto the infield. They start at dawn to put up their own grandstands, and in a couple of hours, they're ready. There's some pretty good mechanics in the crowd, too. But there's still time for breakfast, once over lightly, and a chance to catch up on some sleep in the warm early morning sun. Yes, life, it's wonderful. You can say that again. Everybody is going to the biggest picnic in the world. They weigh fried chicken by the ton at Indianapolis. From the control point high on the pagoda, speedway officials and state police check traffic in and around the track. More than a ton of lost belongings will turn up here tomorrow, and 60 children will get lost in the crowd. We're looking north from the air. The green patch on the right is a 9-hole golf course right next to the back straightaway. On the left is the main straightaway, the pits, garages, and the starting line. The first turn is in the left-hand corner. Here come the cars, crews, and drivers out of the garages to their pits. The official Dodge moves out on the track. There's Vuki's car. Here's Harry Stevens with the 3 Bardol entries. All 33 cars line the pit wall from the pagoda down in order of qualifying speed. McGrath's number 2 is the first in line. It's in the pits where the race can be won or lost, and some crews run a last-minute practice pit stop. The Purdue University band parades down the straightaway bricks with almost 200,000 race fans looking on. Out of the pits to the starting line. But it's more than just a car that these crews are pushing into position. There's months of work and sleepless nights and hopes. There's disappointment and success. Every member of the crew has his hands on the car, and if he could push it to the winner's circle, he would. 5 minutes before the start, and Bill Vukovich can smile. Manny Ayulo is ready. Fred Agabashian protects himself against the roar of wide-open engines. Art Cross takes in the sun, which Jack McGrath shuts out with his dark goggles. There's Troy Ruttman, winner in 1952. And there's Marie Wilson, the girl who will plant a kiss on the winner. This is a field day for the Bell and Howells. There go the balloons, time-honored tradition preceding starting engines. Its hands as a signal that the car is ready. The Dodge pace car rolls out and the field is away. The mechanics get back to the pits. Here they come down the straightaway and into the first turn. Wilbur Shaw in the Dodge pace car, driven by William C. Newberg, Dodge president. Dodge was selected to pace the field this year on the basis of its great performance on the Utah Salt Flats, where it set 196 new AAA records for speed and endurance and became the fastest American stock car ever clocked by the 3A contest boards. field is moving well as they go out of the first turn and head for the second. Now the pace begins to quicken, and in everyone's minds are Wilbur Shaw's words of caution.
You're a part, actually, of a 130-mile-an-hour tornado, and it will carry you right on down in there. On fresh tires, your tanks are loaded. It is absolutely the worst condition that you will experience on this racetrack. Nobody has ever or ever will win this damn thing the first lap. It's a 500-mile race. So if you want to be real brave and real good, take your time about doing it.
Here they come. They're off. McGrath roars away, cutting across the field to first place. Thompson at 43 is right behind him, and Bryan in number 9 is third. Through the second turn, they're stringing out and settling into the groove. Out of the third turn, McGrath starts to move. Bryan is now second. Lead footing it all the way. McGrath rides high coming out of the straightaway, then slices down to kiss the white line on the second time around. Troy Ruttman, 500 winner 2 years ago, charges his number 34 into 7th place. Cross and Hanks lead Bill Vukovich down the chute. Vukovich has worked his way from 19th position to 9th. Ruttman, going at a 138-mile-an-hour clip, takes third as he fights for his car owner's bonus of $1,000 for each lap he leads before the 20th. Vukovich in 14 pushes hard to pass Sam Hanks, national champion, but Hanks in the Bardol Special holds him off. Just look at those boys drive. Ruttman pits on the 19th lap, leaving Bryan and number 9 alone to chase McGrath, now doing 138.8 miles an hour. 5 miles an hour better than any previous record for 20 laps. Vukovich is now 6th. Bob Scott, hard luck driver, bumped in the hectic scramble of last-minute qualifying, stands by Parsons' pit as relief. His hands itch to get on the wheel. McGrath blazes through the 29th lap at 140 and 5/10 miles an hour. Fantastic. Bryan pits on lap 31 after trailing McGrath for 75 miles. Daywalt, number 19, takes second, battling Sam Hanks. Art Cross passes high on the north turn. Here's McGrath on lap 44. He cut through traffic on the first 40 laps at 138 miles an hour. 4 miles an hour better than the old record. He covered the 100 miles in 43 1/2 minutes and earned himself $6,600 in lap prizes for leading all the way. 5 crewmen raced to change the tires and refuel as the seconds tick away. Marshall Teague, another victim of the bump, waits hopefully for a ride. When McGrath pitted, Daywalt in 19 was second, only 2/3 of a minute behind. Now Daywalt makes his move, fighting off Art Cross in the Bardol Special to take first. McGrath rolls, 4 tires and fuel in 50 seconds. Vukovich, passing inside on the turns, picks up those precious seconds. Daywalt in 19 holds the lead for 5 laps, but Art Cross in 45 battles him down the chute to take it away. Watch them hit that corner. Bryan in number 9 is coming up fast again. Troy Ruttman spins on the 3rd turn, 3 feet from the wall. A terrific recovery. He's all right. His hand in the air signals that he's headed for the pits. By holding to the rim, that tire probably kept Ruttman off the wall. Vukovich is now 3rd, only 4 seconds behind first place. Art Cross in 45 and Bardol teammate Sam Hanks in number 1 battle for the lead as Jimmy Daywalt pits. A fresh pair of goggles, tires, and fuel, and Daywalt is away in only 48 seconds. Sam Hanks in the lead makes his first pit stop at lap 61. Vukovich rolls in, his face black with oil, slick, and tire dust. It's good for the track, but tough on the face. 38 seconds and Bill is on his way. All the leaders pit between laps 61 and 65. Here is where crew teamwork begins to show. The lead changes 7 times in 10 minutes as crews race the clock. Every man knows his job. Every muscle strains until that tank is filled. Those wheels are on, and that car is moving again. His job is done. Bryan, with an early pit stop, takes first. Parsons in number 15 is 3 seconds back. McGrath is third, and Vukovich right behind moves into fourth. Johnny Parsons stalls, leaving his pit after a stop on the 79th lap. AAA rules require a car to be started in its pits. Parsons, winner in 1951, gives way for relief driver Bob Scott, who gets his big chance. But Scott has no better luck than Parsons. Number 15 stalls again and is out of the race. McGrath and Bryan tangle for first place. Vukovich, now third, is riding 9 seconds behind the leaders. Bryan pits for the second time on the 87th lap, and it's McGrath who grabs the lead. Bryan is losing time, and he hasn't any time to lose. Away in 41 seconds, but enough to drop him to fourth. McGrath and Vukovich a split second apart. On the 92nd lap, they head down the stretch. Here they come. And Vukovich grabs the lead. Bryan in 9 and Daywalt in 19 battle for third place. On the 101st lap, McGrath pits the second time. At the halfway mark, 31 cars of the starting field of 33 are still racing. Vukovich keeps a heavy foot on the throttle of number 14 as McGrath's crew works on the car. Daywalt pits with a loose hood fastener. Man, he wants to go. At the halfway mark, McGrath was only 7 seconds behind Vukovich. Now, with 2 pit stops to Vuki's 1, every second counts. He's rolling. No, McGrath stalls. He waits helplessly, and Vukovich keeps whipping along. McGrath is on his way after a heartbreaking 1 minute 48 second stop. Daywalt still in his pit. And he gets away, a young man in a big hurry. Tony Bettenhausen is through. A burned out bearing sends him straight to the garage. The 4th car out of the race. Troy Ruttman gets a relief driver and cools off, but he's still plenty excited about his spinout at 138 miles an hour. Fire in the pits. Fumes of highly explosive fuel and hot exhaust pipes are a dangerous combination. This one is quickly brought under control. Jimmy Daywalt in number 19 brushes the wall on the north turn and spins across the track. Number 38 with Pat Flaherty driving skids out to avoid a collision. No serious damage, but both are out of the race. The warning signal goes out as the track is cleared and they're rolling again. Vukovich in number 14 holding first. Bryan in number 9 passes the straggler and holds second. McGrath moves up to third. Art Cross comes in with his hand on his head, meaning get this boy out of here. It's a tough race, but even tougher to ask for relief. Johnny Parsons takes over in number 45. Cross was running third and driving a terrific race when he came in. After 300 miles, Vukovich is still holding first. Bryan is now 20 seconds behind him. Sam Hanks has had to drop out of number 1 because of the heat. Sam had his foot jammed to the firewall all afternoon. In spite of a blistered heel, he can still smile. Vukovich brings in number 14 for his second pit stop on lap 128. His pit is blocked by another car, but his crew set him right and go to work. Vuki came in 20 seconds ahead of Bryan, but there goes Bryan in number 9. It's his turn to take back the lead. Vuki rolls 40 seconds behind Brian and 70 laps to go. Brian, with another pit stop coming up, tries to fatten his lead, but Vukovich gains 1/4 of a second each lap. Bill Vandewater, official starter, signals a pass with the move-over flag. Vukovich roars into the lead in lap 149 as Brian pits for the third time. Brian tears away from the pit wall. He's 16 seconds behind Vuki with 50 laps to go. Vuki's crew signal him to hold his lead, but play it safe. Not Vuki, he's still charging. Brian comes blazing down the straightaway. He's not giving up. 42 seconds ahead, Vuki stretches his lead as storm clouds darken the sky. Only 30 laps to go. Vuki's crew try to slow him down by hanging out the easy side. Number 35 gets away from Pat O'Connor. The caution signal goes on and stays on for 4 laps. Visibility is cut and gusts of wind make high speeds dangerous. Jim Ruttman slides for life. One of Vukovich's crew runs out on the track to help, but Jim's all right and makes it under his own power to the pits. Bill Vandewater warns the field with a yellow flag. Look at those skid marks. With Vukovich still ahead and setting new speed records, Marie Wilson heads for victory lane. At lap 194, Vukovich has a full lap lead over Brian. 4 laps to go. Vuki's wife takes her place in victory lane. Lap 198 and Vuki's anxious crew is still trying to slow him down. In 1952, Vukovich rammed the wall 9 laps from victory. He's coming down the chute on the last lap. The checkered flag. Bill Vukovich wins. Heat checker only 70 seconds in front of second place Brian and 79 seconds ahead of third place McGrath. Vuki made only 2 pit stops, as against 3 for Brian and McGrath. The margin of victory was in the pits. And a big hug and a kiss go to mechanics Frank Kuhn, Jim Travers, and Jack Buckley from Vuki's wife. Vuki takes a triumphal turn down the straightaway to victory lane. Here he is, and his crew is still trying to slow him down. This is the end of the ride, and a great ride it was, too. 500 miles in 3 hours, 47 minutes, at an average speed of 130.84 miles per hour. A new record in a race that saw more new records than any other 500. With a purse of $75,000, Vuki becomes the biggest money winner in Indianapolis history, and the 3rd driver ever to win the fantastic 500 2 years in a row. It's a happy Vukovich who receives the congratulations of Bill Newberg. The record-breaking champion will be awarded the record-breaking Dodge Pace car.